Aloha! Our vacation in Kauai began with a long 5-hour drive from our home in Humboldt County to Oakland, California. There, we stored the car and parked ourselves overnight at Motel La Quinta. Next morning, we took off on our Alaska Airline flight to the islands. Traveling first class, we were joined by friend Phil McDaniels. Completing our quartet was wife Christine, daughter Frederica, and yours truly, Rich Hardaway. Early in the 5.5-hour flight, the stewardesses unpacked the prefabbed meals, and we were fed breakfast. I should have ordered the scrambled eggs and waffles. Airline food. During the flight, we either read or watched movies to pass the time. At 10 a.m. island time, we arrived at Lihue Airport and headed for our condo. On the way, we made a stop at Big Save Market for groceries. Boy, the prices! Eggs were $4 a half dozen. That's 4 times the statewide price. Finally, in our rented Jeep, we arrived at our rented condo, Kahala Unit 311, just up the hill from the tennis courts and swimming pool, and in view of the ocean. Spacious Unit 311 featured 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, our own laundry, and came with a complete kitchen and dining living area. All situated on well-groomed park-like grounds. The rest of Sunday we took it easy while Phil checked maps and our itinerary. Next morning, it was time for action. We set the GPS and were off to explore the island's flora, starting at the botanical gardens. Like much of this paradise, it's beautifully groomed and green with many exotic blooms. Yet, sadly, we saw no orchids. Elsewhere on Kauai, amidst the green, there were many flowers. I'll leave it to others to pronounce the names. Well, I did recognize Bird of Paradise. There were numerous interesting trees. These flat tops are reminiscent of the trees seen in Africa. And there were dazzling flower-covered trees everywhere. Plus unusual trees like this giant with a root-like trunk. But so much for the flora. We were surrounded by it. Next, we elected to visit the much-lauded Fern Grotto. On a large flat-bottom boat, we traveled up the Waialua River some miles, where we passed tourist kayakers and villages. Finally, we all piled out and up a long path, where we were told the famed grotto had been closed for several years. Throwing one of my snits of disappointment, I sat or stood with others while we were pacified with stories of grotto flooding, the dangers of exploring the cave, and the death and loss of the ferns themselves. We were also offered charming entertainment in the form of Hawaiian guitars, singing, and a performance by a talented dancer. The return cruise was pleasant enough with more entertainment. There was even a lesson in the native dance. Returning to our condo, Phil and Christine attempted to recreate the hula. Next on our list of impressive sights was the beautiful and popular Aloiha Falls. Just one of many falls cascading down the island's slopes. Another of nature's phenomena was the spouting horns. Created by tide and surf, water was collected and forced up through the rocks to form these geysers. On the north side of Kauai, near these cliffs, was the famous Kauai Lighthouse, the longest operating lighthouse in the United States. Also featured, thousands of memorial tiles adorn the area in front of the lighthouse. This completes part 1 of our Kauai adventure. Part 2 includes a special helicopter tour of the island. Don't miss it.